Live. Good morning, Facebook. No, not Facebook. YouTube. um, I thought I would share my practice this morning with you all now that I'm back in my usual space. It is not as, it's interesting. I had all this motivation and energy to just wake up and do these live videos when I was at this other location. And being here, the energy is just totally different. And it's like sludging through mud to get myself to do it. But I really want to be here and do this, just share my practice to whoever and whomever may want to join me. I've been reading a book that was recommended to me. I'm not sure how to say Dainin Katagiri, but I think that's how you say it. Is a Zen monk. He wrote a book called, I don't know if this will be backwards, probably, You Have Something to Say. And it's about manifesting Zen insight. Really good book with, lots of little markings and notes. There is this one passage that I thought I would work with this morning as part of my practice on the mat. Let me read it and then I'll share some things. So the changes that occur through spiritual practice are not really your business. If you make them your business, you will try to change your life directly. If you try to change your life directly, no matter how long you work at it, you will not satisfy yourself. So if you truly want to change your life, you should just form the routine of doing small things day by day. Then your life will be changed beyond your expectations. If you practice continually, day after day, you will become a peaceful, gentle, and harmonious person. There's no explanation for this. I love that quote so much because, how, first of all, it is what yoga is. A daily practice of yoga is not about being more fit. I mean, yes, that's like a side effect, but it's not what it's about. It's not even necessarily primarily about feeling better in the body. It's about so much more than that. And it is the daily practice of our yoga that changes us in ways we don't understand or expect. If we use yoga as a way to kind of not intentionally, I don't even know what the right word is, but it's like there's this effort, there's this mental idea of how yoga is going to transform our lives, and we have to let go of that when we practice in order to actually receive what yoga is trying to give us. So I'm going to read the quote one more time. The changes that occur through spiritual practice are not really your business. If you make them your business, you will try to change your life directly. If you try to change your life directly, no matter how long you work at it, you will not satisfy yourself. Think about how many times you've tried to break a habit or changed a characteristic trait, or I don't know, just alter something in your life that wasn't working through effort. Has it worked? So if you really truly want to change your life, you should just form the routine of doing small things day by day. Then your life will be changed beyond your expectations. If you practice continuously, day after day, you will become a peaceful, gentle, and harmonious person. There is no explanation for this. So, he talks about the routine of doing small things day by day. Well, what are those things? I guess it would be different for person to person. The way that I interpret that would be the routine of prayer, the routine of meditation, the routine of yoga, asana. So think about maybe what's not really your business as we do some yoga together. This is my morning practice, so welcome. So I think I'm going to start in child's pose. And I'm just bringing myself to the mat to practice releasing expectation. As you settle in child's pose, whichever version works for you, knees together or apart, arms extended forward or wrapped around. Just notice where you feel the stretch of the back body. Notice the impact on the breath of this curling inward. Seems to me that the mind wants to make everything its business, wants to control the world, wants to control the body, wants to control our individual lives, and often the lives of everyone else around us. So let's just focus in through this practice on what is our business. Is our breath our business? Well, not really, because the breath takes care of itself if we allow it. If we're not impeding it through habit, if we just bring our awareness to the breath, we find that life is already breathing us. So is it our business then to stretch out this lower back area and soften it? Well, again, really, no. We place ourselves in this position. It is that small act. And then it just happens as we breathe and we remain in place. The body, in its own time, will release and let go. It's not our business. And isn't it nice? And space creating that we don't have to do anything other than place ourselves in a pose. and remain aware. Aware, feel, and sense. That is our business. Allow a few deep breaths and just notice contact of upper body on thighs. And then if your arms are wrapped around the body, let's interlace them behind the back here. And allow them to lift off the lower back, just as high as is comfortable for you. For some, shoulders might be quite tight. You might have to readjust the head or the neck as you bring them further. And breathe and feel the opening of, again, that lower back area. We're not making it happen, or are we? Go ahead and lower the arms again back to the lower back. And just notice the chain of events that happens. We're lifting our arms off the back. And it is that alone, that results in the lengthening of maybe some of the tissues of the lower back. And then lowering the arms once more. As you do, pushing the shoulders away from the ears. And then one more time, raising the arms up as high as is comfortable. Maybe playing around with how you have your hands. Are your fingers completely interlaced, your palms together? Is there space between the fingers and a tension pulling them away? And release. Now go ahead and extend your arms forward and find some length through both sides of the waist. And bend one elbow slightly toward the ground to allow the head to look under the other arm, which will create some space and a little arch. And then drop the other elbow down, creating an arch on the other side to turn the head and look under the arm. And again, turning to the first side. If there's any exploration you want to do to really open up that side, feel free. I'm wrapping my arched arm around my waist here. And lifting my head off the floor. And then back to the other side, starting with just looking under the arm. And then if you want to open up into a deeper exploration of that, And then returning to child's pose. Let's come on to the knees and might have to move them back in order to come into a puppy pose. Toes bent back, arms reaching forward long. You're welcome to have a block or props to have the hands resting on, or the wrists. Again, when I ask myself the question, what is my business? I find that it's being aware in this moment of sensation, not breathing like I'm performing or making breath happen, but the sensation of the breath. Not me stretching the backs of the feet, but me aware of the sensation through the backs of the feet as I tuck my toes. Of that sternum towards and sinking towards the floor through the arms. I'm feeling the full surface area of the hands through the palms, finger. And then coming up and shifting weight towards hands, rocking back towards knees. So just a little shift of weight. Allowing the hands to come a little closer so that you're more in an all fours position with hands right under shoulders, and then hips right over knees, feet flat or toes still tucked. Let's begin to articulate the spine. Moving with your breath, exhaling as you round, inhaling as you open through the chest. And now I'm just going to move so I'm more fully on my mat here. Let's extend one leg directly back, toes flexed. Just breathing as that calf does its thing and we stay out of its business. If I were to get into the business of my calf, I might overdo it. Crossing the leg now over the midline and looking back towards. Feeling what's happening through the waist. replacing the leg. Let's do a little work for back strengthening here. So I'm going to extend my leg out into space here, making sure that my hip on that side remains turned toward the mat as opposed to lifting up. And then extending the opposite arm forward. So, almost lost my balance there. So you really have to ground through the rooted hand and the rooted leg. And that is what gives one the support to be able to reach. Breathe. Tuck elbow and knee in to meet under you, and then extend one more time. And replace. Go to the other side, starting with just extend those tucked. Do its business. Our business just being noticing sensation, making adjustments perhaps, without forcing, breathing, or noticing the breath, as I've said. And then cross that leg over the midline, look back at the heel, feeling through the side waist. And then back to toes tucked, leg extended. And drawing that leg up into space, making sure that hip is facing down. When you're ready, extending opposite arm and hold, making sure you're rooted through your hand and the lower leg. So there's an equal pressure downward. I feel very teetery today. Okay, bringing elbow and knee together. And extending one more time. Breathe and release. Good job. Let's come and sit back on the heels if that's available to you, or just sit in easy pose if you prefer. So I'm just noticing my breath here. I'm hearing twittery bird sounds out the window. I'm feeling the heat rising in my body. And I just want to rock back on the tops of my feet for a moment. You're welcome to join me if that's not too intense for you. You can always sit upright and just pull one knee in. It's a little less intense. And let's come into a wide-legged seat. So just feeling the legs and maybe closing the angle if it feels too wide, or opening the legs more if it feels too narrow. And maybe leaning into one leg and then the other, just to feel what's going on through the backs of the legs. And then just doing some ankle circles, again, to just sense into that line on the front and the back of the leg. Both directions. And then making sure you're right up on those sits bones. So if you need something under your hips, please grab that. Reaching up nice and tall. Turning towards one foot and lowering. Now, if you're here, that's fine. Blow breath there on the next inhalation. Go ahead and come up. Turn toward the other side. Exhale down. Couple of deep breaths here. Next inhalation. Come up nice and tall and long, and then let's go forward. So you might just be here. You might have your head all the way down. And if you have a mat, a bolster or block, feel free to use that. You might prefer to have some action through your feet, or to just let your feet flop. Maybe reflect upon ways that you get into other people's business. Or what ways do they get into your business and you need to set some boundaries? In what way, perhaps, do they impede your business? What ways do you take on more business than you need to? And what would it feel like to let go of this need to take care of business? And instead to trust life to unfold, as we just did as you sit back up. So let's do a little twist. Your choice here, but I'm going to cross my legs, one over the other. First, just feel that. And then extending the arms overhead, nice and long through the body. And turning to one side. Using the knee. Unwinding back, and let's change cross of legs if you're doing it this way. Whatever you're doing, go ahead and change side. And just take in whatever position you land in before you go into your twist to the other side. When you're ready, stretching body long into the twist. You know, I'm just thinking of different teachers in all the different traditions, whether it's Zen or yoga or some other form of Buddhism or Sufism or whatever tradition, that the wisest teachers pretty much all said the same thing. In different ways, yes. And one of those things is that life is meant to be a flowing thing. When you're ready, coming out of the twist. And let's come onto our back. That there really, well, yes, there's effort. There's a certain amount of effort we must make in life. But beyond that effort, there is just flow. And the results of that effort, if there's over-efforting, then the results are going to be tainted. If there's effort, then again, the results are going to be tainted. So how do we learn to exert the perfect amount of effort and then trust in the results to unfold. And in what ways are we constantly over-efforting to make things happen, to get things done, to control situations, events, people? So just in constructive rest for a moment with the knees bent. Allow the back to release towards the ground. Shoulders dropping back and down. Face soft. Feet equally planted. Fronts of the thighs or groin area relaxed. Belly soft. So the more, I hear my cat trying to get in, the door's closed. She can't open it, but I don't know if she'll be able to right now. Sorry, Tiger Lily. So I was about to say how life is really walking this razor's edge between over-efforting, under-efforting. Between getting all up in our own business that isn't really our business, or getting all up in someone else's business that definitely isn't our business. And then just staying centered in what actually is our business. Which seems to me to be being aware and then making modifications as necessary. Adjustments as necessary. So I'm feeling my pelvis start to tilt and something's happening inside now. Something else is taking over, and this happens sometimes. There's this unwinding or this spontaneous movement. So I'm just honoring that. It seems like that's all there was that one little arch that happened. But it arose from a very deep place. There was no intention to move like that. My body just automatically pulled me into that movement. And for that to happen, there has to be a letting go of intent to move in a certain way, form a certain pose, feel a certain way. And there has to be time and space and willingness to let the body express itself, free from the mind, free from rules and ideas. So just allow a few deep breaths here. If there's any other movements you feel like you need or want, I want to do a baby pose. I just have my knees opened out toward my armpits, my hands inside my knees, grabbing hold of the soles of my feet. My feet are pushing into my hands slightly and my hands pushing back. So really feeling a flattening of the lower back, opening of the inner thighs. And then I think I will extend one leg at a time just to feel some sensation through the hamstring. Maybe let the head roll with that. So it also appears to me like there might be a bit of a contradiction to this idea of being effortless and being able to share or have some effort. Where's the balance? If we were to have zero effort, would anything happen? Well, that's a good question. I suspect that yes, things would, because eventually things would just arise spontaneously. But it might require a great deal of patience and trust. Any question that too much effort is not a good thing. It usually ends in disaster of some kind or another. But when it comes to effort, who is the one efforting? Who is the actor? Now just the legs together, just making little circles along the back. Sacrum, the back of the pelvis. And then changing directions. So, there might not be any hard and fast answers to the things we're pondering as we practice. It's a contemplation. That's all it is. We can never really express the truth. All we can do is kind of circle around with our words. And one little squeeze in. And then opening out into a nice star stretch. And release into Shavasana. Now, I'll be honest, there are times, might be rare times, but there are times when I don't want to do Shavasana. I just want to get up and go. And if that's how you feel, just check in and make sure that there's not some avoidance of being still. And if you've got the energy and you're ready to go, then don't feel guilted into taking a Shavasana. More often than not, this is my favorite pose. Softening all of the muscles. Really feeling the floor beneath you. What's pressing into the floor? What's making an impression? Softening the belly with each exhalation, really emptying out and back. And noticing if each time you do, the inhalation can be a little deeper, a little fuller. It's okay to feel some contraction through the belly as you release the breath. Taking more time here if you desire. When you're ready, just bringing some movement back to fingers and toes. Pressing different parts of you into the floor. Creating lines of tension. And when you're ready, just choosing a side to roll off to. Trusting in the practice to change your life from the inside out effortlessly. That the movements, the stretching, the sensations, the insights, that all of that will work together on its own to bring the change you desire. So turning face toward floor, pushing up that top arm into an up position. Sitting with the hands in Gyan Mudra at the knees, nice and tall through the spine. Grab a block or cushion if you need support under the hips. Bringing the hands into prayer pose at the heart, feeling the thumbs pressed into the sternum in contact. Thank you for joining me. May you be happy, healthy, and fulfilled. Be well. See you soon. And stream.